Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named Lunkai Li, featuring Elle Sharpe, titled And We Start the Song. And if we switch over to here, we have the lyric video on YouTube. What would I say to my beloved people if I had only 3 days left to live? So I think this could get kind of heavy. This is of course a lyric video, so I'm going to take in the lyrics as I go. So we're going to listen through this track from start till finish, hear what we think. Let's go. Oh, that's a really gentle chord progression there. I like the peacefulness of that.
Love never dies. It goes on and on and on.
Oh, it's that kind of future pop, kind of dreamy sort of synthy vibe going on here. I like the production quality of it. It's really good.
Watch it ignite, showing us how we are strong. And we start the song. And we start the song.
Lots of interesting woodwinds and extra bits of instrumental ornamentation on top. There's a lot to appreciate. Even though there's a theme already established, and I think if it was by itself, it's like, yeah, no, this is definitely passable. It's these little flows up, kind of woodwind parts on top that keep it charming.
Look inside your
Great vibrato for the vocalist.
look inside.
And the harmonies are luscious.
Feel me in your heart.
Okay. This slaps, man.
Set out like millions of the brightest, brightest stars. Feel me in your heart. Feel me in your heart. You're set out like millions of the brightest, brightest stars.
The percussion is so tight. The samples are phenomenal. I love the vocal melodies and harmonies and how they're changing here as well. We have range in terms of the coloration of the piece. We're ascending for this hook part. It makes a lot of sense within the genre and the influences that this is showing.
And when you
The story is really compelling as well.
become that song, I'm the melody that plays on and on and on.
Phenomenal head voice there. I like the inspiration of this. I think, like, if we had to leave this world, it's just another part of our journey, I suppose, our legacy.
And on and on.
Oh, fantastic work with these additional elements here.
Up to the sky. Let me warm you like the sun. Frozen in time.
And these reverse takes are absolutely splendid. Like, they're really interesting. There's a lot more of it in music I listen to nowadays, and it's like people have realized they don't just need to always play the note forward. You can flip it back and see what happens here. It's a nice device to add a bit of tension before the next element of the next part of the mix.
Showing us where we belong.
Great choice of having a different lead melody here. And the snow is really pretty in the video.
Feel me in your heart. Feel me in your heart. You're set out like millions of the brightest, brightest stars. Feel me in your heart. Feel me in your heart. You're set out like millions of the brightest, brightest stars.
The beauty of that image there, that passion of someone being with you, you know, being with you in spirit. It's just so incredible, dude. Great lyrics. Great lyrics, man.
When you can't see me, I become
It matches the complexity of the harmony.
melody that plays on and on and on.
Great syncopation with syncing with the start song thing as well there.
Let me be your song.
I like the fact as well that higher head voice note at the end there fits really well segueing into the lead woodwind that we have going on here. It's these little things which elevate a track from good to great. Excellent panning there on the far left, dude. The stereo field is full of interesting things to listen to and appreciate. Excellent choice of an interlude device. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, do we have a guitar coming in here? How many different elements do we have within these mix? It's so subtle. The arrangement is spectacular. It's like we know the strengths of these different instruments, and we know exactly where we need to play the notes on those instruments in order to fit into the overall arrangement of the frequency spectrum and where everything else is involved. The side chaining of those kicks, dude, it slaps. It sounds like a commercial release. Lovely gong sound there. Wow, okay. We got a lot going on here. Lyrics by Elle Sharpe and Nambo Li, composed by Nambo Li and Elle Sharpe, produced and arranged by Lunkai Li, co-programmed by Ariza and Ian Fontova, backing vocals by Aika Zabala, guitars by... That's a trick one, I can't copy and paste to debell that. Mixed and mastered by at Bite Size Studio, cover design by Menji Yang. It sounded like a bigger production than like a lot of the stuff I usually hear. It's tremendous. There's a lot of really cool people involved within this. I think that each of them played to their strengths. Granted, we're about to have the conclusion. I don't want to give too much away now, but I would say this is probably going to be a positive review. Because it's the conclusion of my review of Lunkai Li's, and we started the song featuring Elle Sharpe. You know, when a lot of this music started to come into like the mainstream in the early 2010s to mid, I wasn't always necessarily a fan of it, because to me, I mean, I grew up with the emo alt rock stuff in the mid 2000s, and then there was like the dubstep stuff that came in. And it just felt like we were trying to find a midpoint between like the electronic stuff and the kind of folky poppy stuff that was really popular at the time. And part of me was like, am I going to get to a point where I appreciate this kind of music? You know, it's not as intense as the stuff I'm used to. And maybe part of that just comes down to like me going, well, maybe I need to just step off the gas a little bit and learn to appreciate the finer stuff in life, because not every song you listen to needs to be really intense. And I think that the what this song talks about is, it'll surprise you if you think about the implications of it for a second. You know, especially with that message that we had, you know, what would you do if you didn't have a lot of time? You know, what would be the thing you told your people around you? And we started the song. I think this track, you know, the story of it is about someone who's coming to terms with, you know, where they're at in their life, and maybe they are running out of time, sort of looking at their legacy, that what they'll leave in the world, and what will happen of their spirit. And it's letting people know that they will always be with them. You know, they can create that new future together, even if they're not there in person. That their existence was something that could still be cherished and would still elevate it, primarily because of the fact that they were alive and there in the first place. And I think that that's a wonderful thing. It's a really beautiful concept to write a song about, and it's actually unique. I haven't reviewed a song about this before, so that is, despite the sadness I feel, to know that, you know, like that, to be listening to someone go through that. I think that the testament to, I think, Elle Sharpe, who was doing the main vocals on this, she carried the tone of that so maturely with her vocal performance, and she sung really well. All the notes were hit in the right places. I think it was testament to her skill as a vocalist that she nailed those harmonies as well that we had laid out throughout. The double tracking or the quad tracking, whatever, because we had 2 or 3, I mean, even 4 vocal layers at once, but I think we also had another singer in there as well to help out with the backing ones. But even then, it's testament to their to the arrangement and the expertise on display that it sounded so smooth, because especially with those triad harmonies, you know, those third harmonies, or even more than that, if you're not doing fifths, well, if you do fifths, it's even worse, but it's really easy to screw up harmonies if your note's even slightly out of pitch. So testament to the skill of the musician, their understanding of their vocal range, and their relative pitch, and just how emotionally in tune they were to the story of the song. It's really impressive, so well done. With that side of things, you know, again, the backing vocals were transcendent. No complaints about the vocals, and the story was engaging. The structure of the track was fantastic. You know, it would have been such a shame if the song had been longer than 4 minutes. I think that would have been disappointing, not because I didn't want to hear more of it, but because I think that it's possible to tell a story like this given how we phrased the first verse within that mark. And it would be a shame to me if the song did not get as much love because people looked at the length of it and thought, I don't know if I can commit 5 minutes to this. Because that's literally where we're at nowadays, is people base it on the time of it, you know. Is this going to be too much of a commitment? They'll binge like 6 hours of Netflix documentaries, but a 4-minute song is just a bit too long. I think that the time was used well. We had our instrumental parts where there were no vocals, and then we had like verses and drops and choruses, and had like a solo-y section with various instruments there kind of intermingling with one another, which was kind of pretty. There was range, and there was lots of stuff to keep us interested along the way. We didn't sleep on it. The main musical motif, I think, sounded beautiful and calm and caring and loving, and I think that worked really well with the vocals and the story of the song. I think everything was connected there, stylistically and just from a humanistic perspective. I think the performance outside of the vocals was great. You know, like the drums were fairly minimalist, but they did enough to elevate it when they came in, especially in those hooks. The bass lines and the synths and everything notched well together and had a really full sound and frequency spectrum. Those woodwinds and little string parts we had in addition to that, and the mid to highs were just charming. I'm so glad we didn't use any low strings. That bass was more than enough, you know. It was so well balanced, and we not only had moments of simplicity where we had like just one main voice, but we also had entire tapestries full of different ingredients, and it was always balanced, not just from a production perspective, which we'll talk about in a moment, but just from like an arrangement perspective. I can't really fault the way it was done. It's like we had someone who understood that the bare bones of it, the skeleton, the bass line, the chord progressions and stuff were absolutely fine, but that's just not enough. It's just not enough to have that anymore. So I'm proud of everyone involved in taking that to the next level there. And the production, the recording, mixing, mastering was utterly sensational. It's a commercial release. It's up there. I've got no complaints whatsoever. You know, like the EQing, the effects change on the various instruments, the panning of the instruments and the frequency spectrum sounded nice and wide. Everything was notched well in the frequency spectrum. It was panned the stereo field and notched in the frequency spectrum really well. A lovely side chaining of the kicks there. Nothing was muffled or sounding less resonant than they needed to be. The limiting compression was phenomenal. There was dynamic range whilst also being nice and loud. It's a masterclass, man, in production. I genuinely think this track is wonderful, and I am so pleased and privileged to be able to have listened to it. So I hope that we find success through the song, I hope that people understand that they're loved, you know. But yeah, this is effectively my review of Lunkai Li's and we start the song featuring Elle Sharpe. Hopefully enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Lunkai Li some love via their various social medias and the YouTube page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.